Hello everyone and welcome to another Fallout 76 Weapon Spotlight. Today we're going to take a look at a two-shot faster fire rate submachine gun and see how it holds up against some of our favorite enemies. And we're also going to take a look at the build as we normally do. Remember, if you like videos like this and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. Beyond that, we're going to get right to it. As always, we're going to take a look at my build. Some of you are going to be familiar with those at this point, some of you aren't. I've included timestamps so that if you want to watch that part, you can. If you want to just jump ahead straight into the action, you can do that too. We're going to start off with a look at the weapon itself. So it's a two-shot suppressed submachine gun. We've got a suppressor on it because I'm running a stealth commando build. You can see the effects. We shoot an additional projectile, 25% faster fire rate, and 90% reduced weight. So big one here is the two-shot effect. Effectively, that's a 25% damage boost over the normal submachine gun, but it does spread that between two bullets. And one of the drawbacks to that is, because those are two lower damaging projectiles, they're not going to penetrate armor quite as well as one higher damaging projectile. We'll see if we notice any fallout from that today as we go. We've got 25% faster fire rate, so that brings the fire rate on this weapon up over 100, which is pretty good. Your submachine gun has a pretty good fire rate to begin with. This really speeds that up, so the DPS could be good. That fire rate could make up for the lower damage per round. It's got 90% reduced weight. Of course, we've got a bunch of mods on it, so we're not really going to notice that all that much, but it's there, it helps. Certainly doesn't hurt to have that. Hardened receiver, short light barrel. I don't think I have all the mod options for this, but I've got most of them, and that one seemed to do the best job. We've got a recoil compensating stock to cut down on recoil with this, and we've got the large quick eject drum magazine. With this one, having more ammo capacity with that faster fire rate is going to be really helpful. Reflex sight for better AP usage in VATS, and of course a suppressor so we can stay hidden when we're in stealth. You don't have all the mod options that you do for other automatic rifles for this, but what we've got on here I think is going to work okay. I have never been a huge fan of the two-shot effect. The other drawback, of course, is it's two projectiles, so it's double the durability loss. Don't love that, but hey, we're going to take it for a spin and see how everything holds up. That's why we do these. Let's go ahead and move on to mutations. And we're running this on my normally bloodied stealth commando character, though we're going to run at full health today. You've got adrenal reaction, which will boost our damage at low health. Now, while we're not going to go purposefully low health here, if the health drops down a little bit, I'm not going to go out of my way to top it up every time I lose a little bit. So we might see that benefit us a little bit, and that's how I recommend using adrenal reaction, even if you're not a low health build. Bird bones and marsupial, so we can jump high and land softly. Carnivore, so we get more benefits out of meat. I've got chameleon. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's the most useless mutation in the game. Eagle eyes gives us extra perception and more critical damage. That's going to be a key factor with a weapon like this. We want to use those VATS criticals. Egghead for more intelligence, which equals more XP. Healing factor, so I don't burn through stim packs in between fights. And then we've also got scaly skin for more damage and energy resistance. Speed demon, so we can move faster and reload quicker. And of course, you'll notice that talons is on here as well. That doesn't really affect us for this. It looks like some of these negative effects are a little out of whack. It's just a visual bug since one of the last updates. Even with Class Freak on, it doesn't apply those in the Pip-Boy accurately, although they are being applied accurately to your character. So you get the point of these. Let's move on and look at legendary perks. Alright, first up is Ammo Factory. That dramatically increases our ability to create ammo when we do farm and craft it. That is a huge factor for a lot of different builds. And then we've got Legendary Intelligence and Legendary Charisma, so we can take more perks there. My goal here with Legendary Intelligence is obviously more intelligence equals more XP, but also that lets me take maxed out Demolition Expert in addition to Gunsmith. I'm not all the way there yet. I need some more perk coins to get there, but we'll get there eventually. Legendary Charisma, again, extra point, extra perk point. It doesn't let me share extra perk cards though, so eventually what I'll do is shuffle that with something else and back one out, which is why I haven't upgraded it. But you get the point. Follow through increases our damage after we land a sneak attack. That could be potentially helpful on some of the tougher enemies with this weapon. So we'll look and see if that does anything for us today. And then we're going to round things out with Legendary Endurance and Legendary Luck. Legendary Endurance, I have 2 points in mainly so I can take Revenant. That way if I get revived, I get extra damage. Not going to be a factor today, but in normal play it is. And then Legendary Luck, this lets me take lots of VATS critical perks. Simple as that. Let's move along and take a look at the special build and our normal perk cards. Alright, so this build is usually my bloodied stealth commando, so I do have some cards here that are more suited to bloodied builds, but, you know, we take what we can get, we work with what we have. I'm in the process of trying to grind out some more perk coins, so anything that I don't use all the time is currently gone. But we start with strength. We've got 2 points in Bandolier. That's going to reduce the weight of our ammo. In Perception, we've got our Expert Commando, Commando, Master Commando. And you can see that Master Commando is 1 point off. That's so I can take 6 points for Ground Pounder and Killer. That's going to give me faster reload speeds, better hipfire accuracy, and give me good armor penetration across the board. 1 point in Concentrated Fire with an automatic weapon. Taking 3 points there doesn't make any sense. Ever since they changed it, doesn't do anything for you. So it's, you know, you get slightly better results, but not better enough to burn 2 perk slots on. Under Endurance, I've got Radical and Revenant. So of course, both of those are basically doing nothing today. I'll be running solo, so nobody's going to come along and revive me. And I'm running at full health, so I don't have radiation to increase my strength. But really, that doesn't really do a whole lot damage-wise anyway. That's really all about just quality of life. Under Charisma, I've got 3 in Tenderizer, so our targets take more damage after we attack them. And I've got 1 rank of Lone Wanderer there because I'm running solo, so why not? Intelligence, we've got a 12. Nerd Rage, Demolition Expert, Scrapper, and Gunsmith. Eventually, once I max out that Intelligence Legendary perk, I will have 5 points in Demo Expert all the time. But for now, it's just 3. This is an explosive weapon, so it's not a factor anyway. So it doesn't really hurt anything. Could I shuffle things around? Maybe, but it's not going to affect what we're doing today, so it's fine. Under Agility, we're going to roll with 3 points in Covert Operative, 3 points in Sneak, 1 in Escape Artist, 5 in Adrenaline, and 3 in Gun Fu. So rather than run Mr. Sandman, I'm running Gun Fu because we do get some extra damage as targets switch. I think that kind of balances out across the board compared to Mr. Sandman, which either doesn't work half the time or you try to swap it in and out and you forget, which I certainly forget many times. So I think we're going to be okay with this. Under Luck, we've got 15 points in Luck, so we can take Bloody Mess for some extra damage. Serendipity is on there for damage avoidance at low health, at very low health. I don't anticipate getting that low today, but hey, you never know. It's there, it's normally in the build, so we're just going to roll with it. And then we've got kind of a hodgepodge of VATS critical perks there to give us a little more critical damage, but more importantly, more opportunities at criticals. And that's a bit of a factor today because we're not low health, so that unyielding armor that I'm wearing isn't really doing anything for me. And then, of course, we have Class Freak and Starched Genes, so we can keep mutations and reduce their negative effects down to something negligible. All right, I think we get the point of the build. Let's jump over to the Whitespring and start killing some things. All right, we're going to head into the golf club. I'm going to avoid the can chimes, despite my reflexes. All right. And we can see those damage numbers popping up. They're fairly low, even for headshots. But remember, most of those are going to be, because we're in VATS, that 70 number, that's probably 2 70s on top of each other. And as our kill count goes up, our adrenaline increases, and we start to get to a pretty effective point there. Definitely takes more bullets to kill things with this than with other weapons, but it's not necessarily a bad thing if you don't have any trouble producing ammo. This weapon, of course, shoots 45s, which isn't one of the more efficient ammo types to produce, but overall, we're still killing things in 2 or 3 shots, at least when we can get close enough to hit them. And that's one of the other drawbacks to Two Shot, is it does suffer an accuracy penalty. And this weapon in particular, you don't have a ton of range on, so you do have to get fairly close to your enemies to take them down. Now you can see with Gun Fu, with some VATS criticals in there, we're getting some decent per shot damage, but that's definitely not on every attack. It's pretty common that I've got to crank out 3 or 4 shots here to take down a ghoul with headshots, which is not admittedly the most impressive outcome. But that's why we test these weapons. We want to see how they work. And now with Gun Fu and Adrenaline and a VATS critical in there, we've got some good damage again. Let's head around to the back here. Who's hanging out? Oh, and you're just standing there waiting to go down. I'll take that. Don't have to tell me twice. How do we do on the Wendigo? So we can see there we needed quite a bit longer of an attack there to take down a Wendigo. But it's still a stealth commando weapon, so it's far from useless. It's still very effective, even if it's not the most efficient choice out there. I will say that I like the feel of this weapon. With that recoil reducing stock on there, running it in VATS, all those things, it feels good. The sound it makes when it's suppressed is also satisfying. So, and maybe that sounds like a weird thing to say, but you look for things like that when it comes to weapons. It's not just about the damage number. It's about, for me at least, do I enjoy using it? Is it fun to play the game with this weapon? And if it is, then that can outweigh some of the other negative effects that a weapon might have. All right, we're just going to take down this last Radstag, and then we're going to head over to the... Oh, there's another one? Okay. All right, fine. You know what? I think you get the point of this. Let's jump over to the deep and see how we do against some commies. All right, making our way up the catwalk as usual. We will get assailed by a variety of liberators. And of course, the ones hanging out mysteriously in the ceiling down here are too far away to hit. The range is just not good enough on this weapon to do that. All right, still in caution. We've got some blind fire going on. A couple more liberators sent our way. I think that's interesting how they do that. They use that explosive cannon effect from the building, but really they're just dropping out from the ceiling, which is kind of strange, but I guess if you weren't really paying that close attention, you wouldn't notice that. So that's kind of a creative way to get around what are some probably engine limitations. All right, and we get closer, and that's not bad at all. These non-power armor communist soldiers are pretty squishy. They seem to take even more damage than just a basic ghoul. So they're really, really easy to handle. We'll head up the... Oh, no. Well, we'll head up the catwalk after we take this guy down. And his power armor helped him out a little bit, but not enough. And we've got one more coming around the corner. There we go. Let's head up the fire escape and look for our missile sniper that's always hanging out up here. I shouldn't say always. Sometimes things change. But for the most part, we'll always find one up here. There we go. And you're dead. Let's head on inside and clear the place out. Okay, there's usually a couple hanging out down in the lobby. And you can see our VATS critical headshots, as long as we're close, are doing very well. Looks like about 2, maybe 3 shots per kill, which is really not too bad. That's not far off from what we see with most stealth commando weapons. Your power armor bad guys are obviously a little tougher, but the squishy ones go down nice and easy, and we've got this place cleared out. So let's head over to Solomon's Pond and see how this does on a Behemoth. Now this is where I expect us to see this weapon start to fall a little bit short. Bigger enemies, tankier enemies with higher armor ratings. It's not going to surprise me at all to see that if this is a tough kill. Also won't totally blow my mind if it's not. It's still a stealth commando weapon. Even at lower damage, even at full health, it should be pretty good. Alright, we landed one sneak attack, which is going to activate follow through. And we're now getting 83 damage per shot on the head, and I think those are stacked on top of each other. So we're doing pretty well. It's not the most efficient kill in the world. Certainly we'd be doing better with a fixer or a handmade, but definitely not something that you can't handle. This weapon, with the proper build, can absolutely be effective. That seems pretty clear at this point. Alright, now we are up at the Fissure site by Vault 79 to take down some Scorched and a Scorchbeast and see how we handle here. So, as long as we're close, this weapon does pretty well, but it definitely has a range penalty, so you really do need to get up on your targets to maintain good VATS accuracy and get the most out of your damage. You can really see a drop-off at long distance. Oh, good, it's Mr. Prizebot. Oh, Mr. Prizebot, nobody likes you. Can I get you to do your special dialogue here? We're just going to torment him for a little bit and see. Come on, come on. Nope, no special dialogue from him today. Oh well. Sometimes if you can kind of piss him off just right, he'll start insulting you. If you torture him a little bit, but didn't look like it worked today. Alright, and let's finish the job up here. So there's that range fall off hurting us a little bit, and that also hurts us. It's also hurting us with the Scorchbeast because it makes it a lot harder to land shots in the air, but now you're on the ground. That was a big mistake, Mr. Scorchbeast. And you can see we're doing quite well here. If my aim was a little better, we would have been more efficient there. But got the job done just fine once he landed. In the air, definitely harder. Alright, now we are at Huntersville and taking out floaters as we do. Those work just fine. Let's make our way into town. And you know, before we go in, let's just take a quick peek at the condition on this weapon, and we've burned through 2/3 of it. This was at 100% condition at the start of this video. When we initially did that weapon examination, that was right before doing the run. And so yeah, the two-shot effect, definitely not super helpful when it comes to weapon condition. And that's because it shoots 2 projectiles, so it's double the durability loss. And the fact that it's lower damage means we need to shoot more bullets. So we are definitely using the weapon more, burning through that condition bar quicker. So with 2/3 of it gone already, my guess is, you know, probably not right at the end of Huntersville, but it's going to need to be fixed pretty soon. And that's not, that doesn't work well in its favor. If you can only get 15 or 20 minutes of playtime out of a weapon before you need to repair it, that's not amazing. And that is primarily the result of the two-shot effect, and one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of it. We'll take out the Hound first, take you down. We'll take your caps too. Make our way into the square. If these guys line up right, we get some gun-fu action going on, but that doesn't seem to be how it's going to go today. Alright, we got 2 more in here. How you doing, fellas? We gotta get close to get that accuracy up. And here comes a 3rd running out of the house. Who else do we have running around here? There's usually 1 or 2 hanging out in the hardware store. And that was pretty efficient right there. I'll take that. So these numbers are weird. These damage numbers are weird. Sometimes it splits it between the 2 bullets evenly. Sometimes it seems like it's giving you 1 full damage and 1 partial damage. Guessing that's visual errors, or maybe just the way the numbers are stacking up on top of each other, but either way, these super mutants are going down nice and easy with headshots. The weapon is fast enough that it does the job well, even though the damage per shot is a little lower. And we've got just a couple more here. A boy and his dog walking up the road. Alright, and one last guy up by the barrier here at the road. 4 shots and he's dead. Let's talk conclusions. So, what do I think of this thing now that we've spent some time with it? Well, it's a fun weapon to use. I love the feel of it with the faster fire rate effect and a suppressor. It just feels satisfying to use the weapon. I know that's hard to convey to you as a viewer, but it feels fun, and that matters to me. With that said, the two-shot effect does make the weapon less enjoyable overall. The fact is that it splits its damage between 2 projectiles, and as such, that's inefficient when it comes to armor penetration. It's not the end of the world. As we saw, nothing gave us any real trouble, even at full health, but if you're somebody who has trouble keeping up a supply of ammo or really just doesn't like farming for ammo, then you're probably not going to be a fan of the efficiency of this weapon. Perhaps most importantly, though, that second projectile destroys the weapon's durability, cuts it in half, and that just sucks. If you can only get 20 to 30 minutes of playtime out of a weapon before it needs to be repaired, even when you have Gunsmith maxed out, then you're just not going to use it, at least not for very long. For this effect to be useful, it either needs to do enough damage to outweigh that durability drop, or, and this is the better option, the durability system needs an overhaul. As long as it works like this, it's going to relegate lots of otherwise enjoyable weapons straight to the script. Now, to be clear, I don't think this is a bad weapon. I like it. It's fun to use, and that's really what matters. I just think there are some things that are really holding it back. But that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it or found it useful. As always, if you did, be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss any of the Fallout 76 content I upload every week, and go ahead and hit that like button or leave a comment. I hope to see you next time. Till then, I'm Fisty McRib.